up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast. Today is something, every episode is special, and this one is special. I got to do something really cool in my hometown with somebody that is super dope in the community and just a dope overall individual. I'm so excited to have with me Miss India of Mattie's Foods.
Hi, you guys.
Thank you so much for joining me.
I had to. This was everything for me. When you initially asked me, I was like, who, me?
Of course. What?
I don't know. It's always kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of feel weird when people ask me to do stuff, and it's like, girl, what you want me to talk about? I ain't got nothing to talk about, but obviously God got something to talk about.
I feel the same way doing this podcast. I'm like, God, me? Because let me tell you something. Every guest that I have, it's not something that I done made up that I think is cool. There's people that I know that I'm like, I don't really know, but I'm very intentional about my energy, for one, who I let into my space. Mm-hmm. And this platform is not for me. It is for God. So I'm like, listen. So I'm like, God, anything that you say. So I prayed about this before it happened. And when I tell you, like, write the vision down, make it plain. Mm-hmm. I had a list, and I was like, okay, God, like, who do you want me to connect to? I live in Dallas, and so I'm like, well, I don't know how stuff is going to work, but we can do Zoom, all of these things. And literally wrote your name down.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So it's just, I just love to see how God is moving. But before we get too deep into this, like, Miss India from Mattie's Foods, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you from, what you be doing, like what you like to do. Tell us something fun about yourself.
So I am India, one of the owners. My sister's Arvelicia.
Shout out to Arvelicia.
She couldn't be here today because conflict of interest. But anywho, so I own Mattie's Foods with my sister. We opened up in 2020, the restaurant, but we started the business in 2017 with just a jar of queso that we had no idea. Oh, yeah. We had no idea what was going to happen because I am by trade a hairstylist, a cosmetologist.
That's
licensed.
How we connected.
Yes. I used to do Bree hair. Like, Bree started her locks with me and stuff, like, and then took them down. It was crazy. It was a whole thing, but this is my baby. I love Bree so much, so much. But that's what I was doing, and then God came and snatched me out of that. Like, no, that's done. I knew it was done. I always knew I wouldn't be doing that, but I didn't know when. Yeah. And so when the when came, it was like, oh, okay, cool. But I didn't know that all of the hair stuff was so that I could get my sister saved. Then after she gets saved, then we become business partners in the kingdom, but then in actual business, which shifted everything. So now where God's like, no, I just need you to help her until I can get her on board. And I'm like, ooh,
see, and kingdom business, like business God's way is a thing, because that's kind of one of the things that well, wait, before we get too deep into it, you said, like, tell us, like, where you from, what you be doing?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I get to go and I get to I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, born and raised. I am a avid hiker. That's my thing. I love hiking.
Where can you hike at here?
Swope Park had like one of the dopest trails ever, and it's like tucked off. You wouldn't even know it was there. It's just tucked off in the corner, like on the inside. And I'm like, I got lost once and found it, and it was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah. But we have so many trails in Kansas City. Lee Summit, Blue Springs got a really big one that I got lost in a couple weeks ago and said I would never go back again.
Girl, you be getting lost in the woods?
But let me tell y'all, let me just show you why the woods is so dope for me. It's because, so some years ago, like in reading the Bible, doing all of that stuff, I would find out like, oh, Jesus, you went to the mountain. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to the mountain with Jesus. And that's crazy for real, but I would go. And we don't have mountains in Missouri. We do, but they're at the bottom in the boot hill. And so I'm like, I want to go to the mountains. I want to go. So I'm like, well, God, where can I go? And that's, again, I got lost in going over there. A friend or somebody had took me and was like, have you ever heard? And I'm like, yeah, I got lost. And so I'm seeing this place and I'm going in there and God is like, now meet me here. Oh, it's deer and animals out here. God, you sure? And he showed me in being out there how much dominion we have over everything. And I was like, oh, okay. So no longer afraid of animals, no longer afraid of, the things that you be hearing stuff. I still be like one of those.
Listen,
But it's like, oh God, I gotta constantly remember the power He gave me, and that's why I go hiking, because it reminds me of my power.
And now I love to hike too. I mean, I live in Dallas now, and there's a place called Cedar Ridge Preserve or something like that in South Dallas, and it's really beautiful. And that was the first time I had ever really like hiked like that. I love it. It's a little far from where I live, but I didn't. So, and the thing about Kansas City too is like, I feel like I'm learning something new every time I come home. It's like it's not the same city that it was when I left. Because I low-key still got hood trauma. So sometimes if I hear loud noises, and I'm always like, somebody asks me like, why you back in everywhere you go? And I'm like, so you can get out fast.
In Kansas City, you got to.
Listen, so I'm just like, I love just to see what the city has become, what it's becoming. And like, so many dope people that are doing great things, especially like with the vegan food and all of that. Because I want to get all into that. Like, how did you become vegan? I want to know, like, all of that stuff. So initially, I guess before we get into that, like, do you remember like when we met? How we met?
Yeah, we met probably in like 2013. I don't even remember. You had just graduated. No, you hadn't graduated yet.
I hadn't graduated from college yet.
No, you hadn't graduated because you were still going back and forth.
I was in college.
And so you were still trying to figure out what you was, like, you knew you was doing, but you was still figuring it out. I remember like, come on, baby.
Yeah,
come on.
You used to do my hair for me too. And you used to do my grandma's hair too.
Yeah.
You started my lock, so you brought that up a little bit. So the thing about hair, that what I love about hair is spiritual. And especially like, people are very like protective, intentional about their locks. Like, I don't want everybody touching my head. That's how I am. Even still, like being in this new phase with my hair, I don't want everybody in my head, you know, because locks are very spiritual. But you did start my journey, my lock journey. So let me tell y'all the story. Let me tell you the story what happened. So,
oh my God.
Indy, first of all, she was like, I don't even like doing locks, but she did it for me.
I hate it. I didn't like doing hair.
She did my locks, right? And so she did them, and like my forehead is busting. It's like one of the things that I've been insecure about. And so with my locks, they were big, but I should have left them alone, and I learned that later on down the line because of my hair texture is very soft. And so I had so many, but I thought my head was too big, and I had like little caterpillars in my head. So I was like, so I literally went home, and I still used your parts, but I split every lock that she did.
Everyone
in half. I split them in half, and I had like 120 locks in my head.
Just tripping. She was like, Indy, I went back, and I, because it just seemed like it was just, and I'm like, okay.
I know. And I was like, I'm sorry. And let me tell you, it was like 4:00 in the morning, and I'm in tears crying because I had messed with my hair. And I realized halfway through, you should have left them alone. Crying. And I was like, well, I can't go back. And she didn't know, I was just like, I just got to see it through. And
you got to finish it now.
I got to finish it through. And I was crying. I was up probably for 24 hours trying to figure out how to, because I didn't even know what I was doing. I watched a YouTube video and
doing stuff, just doing stuff.
I'm sorry.
And not knowing that the smaller they are, the easier they are to tear and break. And it's like, girl, I do this by the Holy Spirit. I don't even like doing hair. You better leave it. But hey, things happen. It's fine. It happens. We all have our things when it comes to like, I had a look. I had this look in mine. And this is what I wanted it to. It don't look like that. And then my mom, my godmom, and in school, they used to always be like, when somebody brings you a picture, cover the face, because they're not looking at just the hair. They're looking at the presentation in its totality. And so it's like, this is what they want to look like. They want to look like them when they get out the chair, not knowing you're not going to look like that at all.
No. So I definitely learned my lesson. And
it's a good one.
But in doing my hair, I remember you used to bring these fire cupcakes.
Oh my God.
These cupcakes. And I would just be like, when are you gonna have some more? I remember, was it like banana?
Banana pudding.
Oh, that one.
Banana pudding cupcake.
And I'm probably ain't gonna have no teeth when I'm old, because I love sweets to this day. Like, I love sweets, like, but they were vegan, and I think that was probably the.
No, they wasn't vegan.
Those
yet.
wasn't vegan.
Not yet. They became vegan later. They wasn't vegan.
Not when you started.
That was just our food journey.
Oh, okay.
We didn't even start vegan. I ain't know nothing about vegan at that time. That was just the cupcakes. That was just good cupcakes.
It was good. It was good.
That my sister forced me into.
So the cupcakes came. What came first? The cupcakes or the queso?
Cupcakes came first. because we named our business. Our business was Mattie Cakes. And so Mattie Cakes then hosted everything for the vegan stuff because that started it. And then it was like, well, we vegan now. So it's like, we can't do that. So we got to figure something out. We didn't want to let the business go.
So how did the queso come about?
Fast. We went on a fast.
Okay.
I was on a fast for 40 days.
That is crazy how that happens.
Yeah, I know. I knew for me that I kept praying like, God, I don't want to be sick and die. I don't want to be sick and die from what my grandmother died from like my daddy had all these health ailments, my grandmother on his side, all of these health ailments. Then when I would go to the doctors, they would be like, so give me your family history. And I'm like, man, everybody's sick. But I didn't take medicine. I really believed what the Bible said about healing. So it's like, I just can ask God to heal me and I'm going to be healed. And that's it. And so it was like, well, so now what are you going to do? Because maybe you're not getting sick, but there's reasons behind it. So I went down this whole rabbit hole of trying to figure out how can I not get sick? And God showed it to me in the very beginning and was like, okay, go back to the beginning. That's all he told me, go back to the beginning. So I go back to the beginning. I'm like, oh, this is what you would, okay, so you wanted us to eat like this. Initially, I don't know how to do that though. And so it was like, he told me to fast for 40 days. And so I went on the fast and I did fruits and vegetables, like, then you fast. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But my sister was like, well, I'm going to do it with you. And so I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. So we fasted, not knowing that in the fast, we was going to be called to go to Vegas to do missionary work with one of the ladies from the church, and her daughter was a prostitute. It was a whole thing. And she's like, I want you to go with me. The Lord showed it to me. The Lord had showed me the baby, the daughter, being in a dream, being drugged away, all of this stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I know I'm supposed to go. And she asked me. I had no idea about nothing. But then she asked me and was like, I'll pay for everything. I just need you to go because this is what the Lord is telling me to do. And I want you to go with me. And I'm like, okay, God, this is what we doing. This is all in the fast, though. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that this is what that fast was going to do. And so it was like, go back to that when I knew I wasn't going back. But my sister was like, sister, I'm hungry. There ain't no food. And this ain't looking good.
Listen, so I'm not vegan anymore, but I did go vegan. I moved to Texas in like 2016. I haven't had meat like chicken, beef, all that stuff. I probably haven't had red meat in 10 years, but that chicken and turkey and all that, I had stopped eating that in 2017. But that earlier that year, in 2017 was when I did my first fast, like Daniel fast. With my church, they did a corporate fast. And that was the first time I had even done anything like that. And I was like, dang, I feel good afterwards. Like, and people always like, well, how you going to get your protein? I hate that question.
I hate
that question. So it's like,
the same place your cow get its protein from.
Literally. And so I'm like, so when I did the Daniel fast with my church, I was like, okay, I like the way I felt. And I was already trying to be health conscious because I went on a weight loss journey and I had lost a lot of weight. When I was like years ago, I don't even know how long ago it was because I done gained some of it back. But I had went on this weight loss journey, and so I was trying to be more intentional with the way that I eat. And so after the fast, it was around the time when that big what pushed me into veganism was the documentary. What's it called? What the hell?
Everybody.
I saw that, and I was just like,
this is what I eat.
Nothing. I was like, I don't want to eat anything. And so literally after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself just to see if I can do it. And I was vegan, but it was before veganism was common. And so I got tired of eating french fries and salad every time.
Girl, listen here.
Listen. So I was like, I'm hungry. Like your sister. Like, I'm hungry.
That's exactly what she said every day. Like, sister, I can't. If you don't figure something out. It ain't like I'm the chef, but I just like to create. And so I would see it, God to show me something, and I'd be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna do it," because I really believe that whatever I ask for, God's gonna give it to me. Ooh, yeah. Period. I really believe like that. Literally anything that I have is because I've seen it, or God, I'll be in prayer and be like, God, this is my desire, but whatever your will is, and he'll respond to me, whether it be in that moment or it be moments later or months later. Okay, this is what I desire for you. Okay, God, well, God told me he gonna give me this. And people thought I was crazy living my life like that, but I don't care because I'm living in a house that God told me he was going to give me. I drive 2 cars that God told me he was going to give me. I wasn't going to have to pay for it. And I didn't. And so it's like, you did that, so I know anything else that I ask for, literally, you're going to give it to me.
That's dope. That level of faith that you got right now, I didn't. That's what happened to me on my journey. And so I feel like where I am today, it's like, whatever, gotta make a way. Like, but it took time to get there.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to get into that about your faith. Like, how have you always walked this walk? How?
Definitely not.
Okay. How did you come to know the Lord, Indy?
In 2005, I had my son, and I was. Everybody got their little story. My story a little different. Because I was really like, some people say their stories, and I'd be like, ain't no way. I know you lying. But my story was really like crazy. There were people praying for me that I found out at the salon, because a lot of the people from my mom's job started coming, getting their hair done. And they would see me and be like, Indy, there's no way you're this person, because I remember. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because now I'm walking in faith. But in 2005, I had my son, and life just spiraled completely. I had already made a decision at 13. I was never going back to church. Like, no, you're telling me to do something, and y'all live a life contrary to what you're telling me, and I can't do like that. I'm either all in or all out, and I was completely out. And so it was like, God, I'm God. This is how this works, and I'm going to provide for me. But God literally covered me every step of that way, because he knew I was a fool. He take care of fools and babies. So, and I was a fool. And so 2005, I had my son. They're still praying and fasting for me, and I have no idea. There is corporate prayers and fasts that was going on for my life that I had no idea about until after salvation, years after salvation. And when I gave my life to the Lord, it wasn't in the Orthodox way. I was in my car, about to get high. I was rolling up, and I'm like, well, I had been invited to the church that I go to now, Kingdom Word Ministries. I had been invited, and my pastor, he wasn't my pastor at the time, but he had told his testimony, and I was listening like, what? So you was smoking weed, wet, and crack in the same joint, and you ain't dead? Boy, it gotta be a God. Because he told me, he didn't tell me specifically, but this is his testimony he's telling, and he's like, yeah. And it was just like one day, he had went to a church. I'd never been to church until he was 28. Had never been. His mama didn't make him go. His sisters and them went, but he was on the block, 7 years old to 28. And so he's telling his testimony about how he had went and all of these things transpired. He said, I went to church, I prayed and said, if you real, take this away. He said the next morning he woke up and dumped everything in the toilet. I didn't hear that part about the dumping everything in the toilet, but I knew everything was gone. So what did I do? I went home. I said, well, this is going to be my last blunt if you real. If you real, this is going to be my last blunt. But I don't know if you real, so I'm about to... And so I'm sitting in the car and I do all of that. And I was like, you just gotta, if you real, show me. I woke up the next day, never smoked ever again. And it's been 18 years.
God bless you. That is amazing.
18 years. That was crazy because then that's when all of the hell started. Because when you are a hellion in the world and you come out and everybody's looking like, how you overnight this now? Because I literally, when I tell you I went to the block, I didn't throw it in the trash. I said, that's a lot of money. I was selling a little weed. You know, I just bought me a new smoke pipe. I didn't bought me a little, what? You want me to throw this in the trash?
I feel you.
So I'm like, I go to the block, hey. But I wanted them to know life is changing for me right now, today. We all got high yesterday. Today, this is it. I gave everything to them. Y'all can have it all. They said, no, you lying. What? I'm going to take it. But what's happening? They took it. They took it. And I didn't care. I didn't care because I was so grateful that he had came and pulled me out of that because I knew I was dying. I knew I was gone. Like, this was it for me. I looked like that. And so it was moments that I'm bypassing shootouts. I'm bypassing like drug raids. I literally just left and they calling me, boy, they just pulled up. Dog, they didn't hit everybody. And I got a car full of weed. Maybe I was going to jail because weed wasn't legal. I'm going to jail. I ain't got like a little sack. I had ounces. And so it was like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. Y'all can have it. And they said, you'll be back. Give it a year. You'll be back. Everybody do this. I was like, okay. And a year later, hey, y'all ready? Nah, you still on that though?
Man, indeed. I'm just in here. God is speaking to me right now. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
You better speak.
I know. So I have to. So, I can feel the Holy Spirit. So a lot of times, like, when I share my testimony, like I said, like, I bury so much of my past. I'm just like, you know what? I'm a new person. But my journey has been, like, I was a hellion since I was a shorty. Like, I was a hellion, okay? I had a lot of childhood trauma, too. And so, like, I was just, like, mad at the world. And whatever, it is what it is. Like, I used to smoke in 6th grade.
Hey, I started at 10, so I already know.
I used to, and homies on the block, my friends, like older friends that I had on the block would like buy me Black and Milds because I seen people in my life that was smoking. I thought it was cool. So like I would do it on my way to like walking home from school. That's when I was first introduced to it. Now I started smoking weed a little bit in high school. I didn't do it like full out, but I'm just, what you said just reminded me of this time where like I was like probably in college. I definitely used to smoke in college a lot. But God was starting to get control of my heart little by little. Because it was like I was always in situations, and especially like you talk about a hellion, and that's why I think I deal with shame so much because of who I was for real, not who I let people see, but like on the low. And I'm like, maybe I'll tell it in a book, but like who I was in secret, I hate that I have to expose myself now.
No, it's fine.
But like who I was in secret. So this one time I was involved with somebody. My parents probably gonna look at this like, who are you?
Hey,
it is what it is. I mean, blessed, the Lord kept me. So,
hey.
But I was involved with somebody, and we were smoking, and God had already I didn't know that this was God coming after me at this time, but God was like, you have to make a choice. And I'm like, okay, well, it's just a little weed. Like, I don't never get stoned. It just take the edge off a little bit. And so we hotboxed a little bit and playing basketball. And I immediately felt this conviction. And it was just like, this is when I know my life changed, when I stopped smoking weed for a very long time. I didn't stop all the way. Some people was like, wake up the next day and it was done. For me, it wasn't. So it wasn't that for me. But we were playing basketball, and in my head, God is like, this is like a game for your life. Which one you gonna serve?
Woo.
So the whole time we playing, and I'm sitting here with the person that I was dealing with, and I'm scared. And he like, why are you acting like that? And I'm like, God is speaking to me the whole time. He like, let's see who gonna win. Take the first shot. Let's see, you playing with your life right now. Like, he was literally talking to me. Oh my God! I was so afraid. I never shared this story. I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but I was too high for one, and I was scared. I don't even know if I can't say I was high, but the conviction was like separating me. Like, choose right now. Which side you gonna be? Girl. So let me tell you. So you hotbox, you turn the lights off in the car. So I told him I don't want to see how this game is gonna end. I told him I didn't want to play no more, and so we stopped playing. And I'm like, I'm about to go home. Literally, I get in the car. We hotboxed, so my lights was off. I'm driving home, and I wasn't too far from where I lived at the time. Driving home with no lights on. This truck, I turned the corner, this truck flying down the hill almost hit me. I don't know how, I know how he didn't hit me, but almost crashed into me. Then, and I'm like, can't nobody see me? And I realized that the lights wasn't on. I get home, and I'm crying, and I start praying with my mama. I ain't never prayed with her before. But I get home, and I'm like, Mama, I'm scared. I don't know if she knew I was high. She might have. I don't know. But I was like, Mama, I'm scared. Like, can you pray with me? And ever since then, like, I didn't touch weed for years after that. I was so afraid because I'm like you said, like, you have to choose. What side you gonna be on?
It's either all the way in or all the way out.
Listen, and so when I get there, he hit me up a little later, like, as soon as you left, the police came. It was a whole situation on the block. I'm like, God, I have so many instances in my life where God has protected me from something. There's only by the grace of God that I am not in jail. Only by the grace of God, I ain't got no record. Just because of, even if I wasn't actively doing certain things, I was around things that I shouldn't have been around. Because I was just trying to find my way. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I just felt, when you was sharing that, I ain't never shared that, but I'm in this season of my life where God is like, you can't tell half the journey.
Girl, because that's the part that allows other people to be free.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me a piece of your story, but my freedom is in the part that you still hold in shame and in secret. And guys, like, the only way the devil still has you is as long as you keep covering up what he told you, you can't tell.
Oh.
And there's a whole lot of stuff that in this journey, things that I never wanted to expose, that I had to expose. Because, what is this called? Let It Be.
Let It Be the podcast. Literally releasing control.
Because you cannot. It's what? Why are we holding on to what we've been set free from? And that's where God is like, India, Bree, you are walking in freedom, but still shame. There is no way you can do both. Choose. Still today, choose. And you made a choice.
Yeah, I had to. Because like I said, this is a year where I don't care about anything. I will go wherever God tells me to go. Like, I trust you. And so doing this, like, this has been a tug of war to be on here. And like, I'm very like low key as it is. Like, people know what I want them to know, you know. But God was already working on me. Like, now you got to go back. It's great that you connected with these people here in Dallas, and they know the Bree 2.0. But let's dig into Brianna a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's because that's where like you said, that's where people's freedom is, and you have to be like, if you gonna be obedient to walking in whatever it is that God has for you, you're not gonna be able to experience His glory like in full if you're not gonna be fully surrendered to Him. And so that's why I'm like, I still be fighting with this sometimes. Like, God, how much I gotta share? How much? Like, can you spare me a little bit? Like,
because I don't want to tell.
I don't want to tell everything, but like, as I feel led to, I'm definitely gonna share. So thank you for that, and I feel a little lighter.
Girl, listen here. We gonna release burdens.
We
gonna set it right there at your feet. God, I ain't even have to keep that in, and it was big for you, but it was freeing for me. Because it helps with knowing that you're not the only person on this journey that had to go through some things were shameful and really shameful. And it's like, you want me to tell my brother what? I'm not telling my brother that. He gonna kill him. I'm not telling my brother that. But God still, He get the glory. And that's where my freedom comes in, knowing like at the end of the day, however your response is to what I'm about to share with you, that's your response. But this is my freedom. This is His glory. This wasn't for you or for anybody else. I needed to be free. And sometimes that freedom comes with a collateral damage because other people are involved in you being free. But at the end of the day, God's going to get the glory. They'll be fine. That's what we know. Anywho.
You ministered to me. You don't even know right now. You ministered to me.
I feel like that's what needs to be said, because we as believers, it's like, what's done in the dark comes to the light. We know that, but it's like, well, let it come to the light on its own. Don't make me do it. And God's like, but how are you really walking like this and you got shackles on your feet talking about you free? You're not free. You are literally walking in bondage. And God's like, well, you can stay there as long as you want to, and I'm going to walk with you, because didn't He say something about going to hell? If you make your bed in hell, I'll be there with you. So therefore, if you want to stay in hell for a litlittle while longer, I'm going to be there with you. But I'm going to pull you up out of it when you ready.
When you ready, that's what I was saying.
The part that I love about God, because He ain't going to force it.
I love that. Such a gentleman. So like you decided, you just made a decision the next day, like, I'm going to live for God. What did that mean? Oh, okay. What happened?
No, it was gone. It was literally like, I woke up from 13, because I started smoking at 10. And at 13, I made a decision to really go on in there. I'm going to just slide on in with, if I can get it, I'm going to get it. Like you were saying about people providing you. You got older people that's buying you blacks. I got people who was like behind my brother back. And I'm back there drinking and smoking. They getting high and I'm getting high. And I'm a kid. And so that's every day until 2005 or 2006. And so when I made that decision, like, if you real, you going to take this from me. I can't give it to you, because I've been trying to get rid of it. I wanted to quit. But it was like 10 years of just waking up and smoking every day. Every morning. every afternoon, like I had a schedule, and on good days I wanted to, outdo everybody. So I'm gonna do 13 of them. Come on,
Whoa.
we just gonna have a smoke session. And so to go from doing all of that, and everybody knew it because I was very loud and proud about it. That's why I'm loud and proud about God, because I was loud and proud. Walk in the door, I just put the blunt out on your porch. It's in my pocket. How you doing? You smell like weed. Get out my house. Well, all right. See you later. It was, God, you take it. And he did, because he knew I wasn't going to be able to release it. And so the desire was gone. And the smell of weed makes me sick to my stomach to this day. And people were like, everybody, I can't. I can't do it. Not because I'm afraid I'll go back, but because I literally get sick to my stomach with the smell of it. And so that next day, it wasn't India made a decision to no longer do it. India made a decision that, God, you real. I don't feel like I need to smoke this morning. I don't have a desire to go in. Oh, shoot, you really real. It was like, oh my God, God is real.
Moments like that. Yes.
And it's having that. It was like life-changing, and I'm the only one in this place with me. I did this by myself. The girl who was on the journey with me, she went off and start going right. She went back to that lifestyle where I made that decision, and I was serious about it. And so it wasn't no more like, I can deal with it. It was like God gave me wisdom immediately. If you go back around them, you'll get back in it. So for 2 years, I was isolated. No talking to nobody.
I'm kind of experiencing something a little similar, but for me, as far as weed and like things, like I'm not tempted by that anymore because I was never like, I didn't smoke every day, but I use it as a coping mechanism. And that was what started to bother me the most, because God was already speaking to me like, you doing this and it's not even pleasurable because you're paranoid for one. And then listen, you paranoid, you can't even enjoy whatever you're trying to enjoy. But what really got me was God asked me, like, are you going to depend on that more than you depend on me? Because the thing that you're trying to suppress is still going to be there. And you're still going to it's going to have to come out eventually, and you're going to have to face it. Do you want to face it with me, or do you want to depend on something else? And that, when I felt that conviction, I said, you know what? It ain't even worth it to me. It ain't even worth it to me. So now I'm not even enticed by it, like anymore. It's not something I don't even desire. But when you talk about like making that change for like, okay, now you like God showed you that he's real and you're the only one on that journey. What does that look like? Because that sometimes I'm dealing with that, like learning how to being in isolation, especially because God is kind of taking me to another level of my faith and like my understanding and things like that. So how did you navigate that time?
Because it was so like such a drastic turn. Immediately it was like a culture shock. But then it was like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but the only thing I know to do, I'm about to read this Bible, because I don't know nothing about this guy that I just said yes to, but we gonna figure it out. And then in the midst of that, I'm like, God shut things down for me, because he knew if she don't have nothing to do, she gonna go back. And it was like, At that time, I realized how in love with me he was. I didn't know God's love ever. And so it was like, oh, you in love with me. Because you shut down the Bannister Mall so that I can go to school, and then they did nothing with that land. Because I was working at the Bannister Mall. I'm a shampoo girl. I'm about to try and, get a little license the crooked way. I don't really want to do hair. I just want to braid and make some money and be, provide for my son, because that's it. But God's like, this was ministry. I didn't know hair was ministry.
Yes, it was.
But it was ministry for me. And so God was like, you got to go to school. And I'm like, go to school? I'm not about to go to school. And when I went to school, I didn't know that he was going to take me to a place that would disciple me for a whole 10 months, day in and day out, every day. I went to Elamar's Cosmetology and Barber College. The lady who was the original owner, Miss McDonald, Shirley McDonald, she was like, she still is like, all day, this is Bible. You don't have a business without faith. You don't have a business without the Bible. So she taught me how to incorporate God into, or how to incorporate my business into my relationship with the Father. So she taught me the Bible. She taught, like, that was my isolation because I couldn't work. I went to school from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Tuesday to Saturday. Where am I working? How am I about to get a job? And I got a 1-year-old. And it's like, okay, God, this is, you put me in a space where I had to be in your face. So we had mandatory Bible studies on Tuesdays and then test about what we studied. Then we had, and so she taught me how to learn, like read through the Bible, but she didn't know I was only a year saved because this is now in 2007. I'm like, God, if you want me to go, you're going to have to pay for it because I don't have no money. I went to school for free.
Jesus.
That's how much he was in love with me and wanted me to never go back. Like, you shut stuff down from me. It messes me up still to this day because I still see how in love with me throughout these seasons because I've been far from perfect. I got a baby in the middle of my salvation. So my daughter 11, I've been saved for 17 years. You do the math, 18 years. You do the math. So that lets you know. But in the midst of that, God was still like, okay, we're going to use it. Like, yeah, no, that's okay. We're going to use that too. And so it was like all of the isolation in that time was, you better stay in my face. Because if you don't, you're going to go back. And I'm like, God, come on. But not learning it then at the beginning of my walk and not having to go back through it later. Well, I did have to go back through it again because every few years you transition, you grow, you elevate, but it gets harder with the years because now you've created relationships with people. You have friends, you have loved ones who now I done brought my sister on this journey with me. I'm trying to get my best friends and all of them people to come on this journey with me. And then there's a time where he's like, nope, you can't take none of them. God, come on, you got me by myself again. And he said, it's in this place that I do my work because you can't effectively grow with all of the stuff still hanging from the limbs of your tree. How you gonna grow? And you got suitcases weighing the limbs that I've pruned down. How you gonna grow? And I'm like, come on, God. And so it's moments like that where I'm like, well, India, this is going to be different, but you going to have to push through this one because you seen what it looked like when you tried to pull people in that wasn't on that path. Now you're distracted. I told my best friend yesterday,
say that again, that part. Like trying to pull
people in and now you're distracted.
Yes.
You literally come with me, y'all.
Yep.
Because they look like they on the same journey as you, but God's like, okay. And now you're distracted because now you got these conversations and he's like, but you stop listening to me. I need you to seek me early, but you talking to them early. I want you to talk to me, but you talking about me with them. And that seems productive. But God's like, nope, that's not what I want you to do. All good things ain't from God.
Oh my goodness. And that it doesn't mean
it ain't not from, let me stop that. It ain't that it's not from God. All things that are good ain't God.
Yes, that part.
Because Satan will put some good things in front of you that look good, but it's wrapped in good. But in the center of that thing, you see, that's that cream filling that they don't show you on the outside of the Twinkie. You see it when you open it up, and that's where the calories are. That's where the death is, because you don't know what that is. That's hydrogenated something that ain't supposed to be in your body.
And I just had this conversation with somebody else, just as far as like everybody can't go.
Nope.
As much as you love them, like God, because that's what God has had to, like, I've had to be delivered from that, because it's like I went through like this enlightenment and I want everybody to be saved. I want everybody to be healthy. I want everybody to, and God is like, let me be God. Just like I came and found you with your raggedy self, I'm going to find them. You just do what I called you to do. And I was looking at it like more so like I'm being punished a little bit. I'm like, God, why are you punishing me? Like, why I felt like I've lived a life of loneliness, like just because of my experiences in life. So I'm like, God, I have people, but I want everybody to be healed. And I feel like that was causing more of a wedge between like my people too. You know what I'm saying? Like even like with my mom, or, you know, like I want you to be healthy and I want you to be, and it's just like, God is like, let me be me. You do what I told you to do. Period.
Ooh, Bree, let me tell you something. It's in the let me be me. So God will draw people towards you because he's in you, right? The distraction comes when he draws them towards you, but then you keep them. And then he's like, I just wanted you to give them this, but then you turned them into this. And I'm telling you, just give them this. And it's when you're completely like tapped in with him and you're like, okay, God, what am I supposed to be doing here? Who are they? Are they assignment? How long am I supposed to be here? It's those questions, because people like, I'm not about to be asking God every little thing, but he asked us to ask him. And so when they're coming, what are they here for, God? What do you want me to do? Okay, cool. That's what I'm doing. And I'm not going to do anything else until you tell me to do something else. But what we'll do is, come on, guys. Come on, y'all got this. Because then we see a little growth and it's like, this is a season. This ain't forever. This is in and out. I know you want to be connected to them because it's a good feeling to have community. And then we hear community all the time because it takes a body of Christ. It's a body of Christ, but that's still an isolated pinky toe. That's still an isolated finger. This finger right here, the only finger moving, is by itself for a season.
I read this book. I mean, obviously, this is later on down in my faith, but it's by Pastor Darius Daniels. It's called Relational Intelligence. The best book I have ever read, ever. And it's about just like how to categorize relationships in your life, because people are seasonal and everybody can't be everything. You can't be everything to everybody. And so it breaks down like, how do you categorize those people in your life? You know, I definitely recommend anybody. Like, it's shameless plug. Like, it's a great book. And I think it's something that you should kind of be refreshed about just when you're doing inventory of the people in your life and where it is that God has you, because it don't mean that he gonna take people away from you completely, but like you just got to put them in their right place, you know, so God can be God and work through you. So you mentioned something earlier about like you and doing a salon with your sister, and that was so she gained her salvation through that, and then y'all evolved onto this journey with Mattie's Foods. What was that like? Like, how was that? Like, she ended up like on her walk with God, and then how did Mattie's Food come about from that?
Okay, so after the fast, she's hungry. After the fast, first of all, let me just say this. We are very influential people as believers. As a body of Christ, we are very influential. We can influence people to come to Christ or go away from them. Either way, we're influential. And so her husband, we're eating vegetarian. Her husband's eating whatever he's eating. The kids are eating whatever they're eating. Her husband goes away for 2 weeks because he was doing work out of town or whatever, and he comes back home and he was like, y'all one step away from being vegan. Y'all might as well just get rid of the cheese, because now he's watching stuff, doing more research, because we just following what God is saying. I'm following what God is saying. My sister's following me because she had a dream. God told her, follow your sister. And I was like, what? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm the baby. I'm not the big, I'm the little sister. And so, okay, God. But then he says, this is all you got to do to become vegan. And we like, I don't know what vegan is, but all right, cool. He said, but the dairy is what's killing you. And I said, oh, okay, I needed that. Give it here. So we go vegan. She's hungry. I'm a creative. Okay, well, let me just, God, I need you to show me, because she gonna leave me on this journey and I can't do this by myself because I'm gonna go back. I already know I am. So I create this cheese in the kitchen and at my house, and I'm like, sister, try this. She's like, that's disgusting. And I was like, God, dog, okay, give me a couple weeks. So now, because I can't
honesty.
Like, for real, she told me, and I was like, well, all right. But I can't go right back into it. That's not how my mind works. My mind needs a break. Like, just go to sleep, drink some water, come back. And so a couple weeks later, I come back. I'm like, you know what? Okay, God has showed it to me. All right, so I looked at all of these recipes and all of this stuff, and he's like, take that out of there. Take this out of that recipe. Take this, put those things together, and then you just try it. My best friend's on the phone watching me. We on video chat. He watching me create all of this stuff, and he was like, what it tastes like? And I was like, oh my God, I got to take it to the church. I go to Bible study that night, force everybody in the church to try it. And they was like, man, I'm not. I got a bag in the bowl. Come on, man. You got to try it. My sister gets in. She was like, this is it. Not so that we can have a business, though. Just so we can eat.
Just so you can eat.
And the customers was like,
fire.
what's that y'all eating? I said, girl, that's this cheese I done made at the house. They was like, let me try it. And from there, that's where we get this cheese. And then it's next, like, guys like, okay, well, do something else. Let's see what else. And so now she's thinking and I'm thinking, and now we got this business that took over the salon. The salon now doesn't have enough. We can't be at the salon because we got too many events outside of the salon. So now Mattie's is taking care of Salon Matisse, and we can't do both. Choose. And I'm like, well, God, you already told me I was retiring by the time I'm 35. So I know I'm out of here. My sister cried like a baby. She said, and I got to talk to her and told her, like, I need you to do this.
Scary.
It was the scariest thing in life for her. But for me, I knew I was doing this because I knew I did hair because it was a mission and this is ministry. And now, God, if you going to turn this into ministry, this is a far greater ministry. I can't reach the people that we reach now. So now we got, homosexuals. We got people who would never, atheists. We got, like, when I tell you, we got some people, and then on the journey, just meeting other business owners and just embracing them. Because the vegan world is different. They ain't what we, they different. And this ain't no, hey, I'm vegan, so I know. And so we meeting these people who are like, well, let us help. You want to help? We just got a little bit of a vision and a little bit of dream. And do you want to help us?
Jesus.
And they not believers. They wasn't believers. One in particular came to Christ a few years ago because I kept talking to him, kept pouring into him. And he's like, every chance he got, he said, now, India, I don't believe in God. I know you don't. That's okay. And he's like, I just want you to know. And so I'm like, well, you still my friend, though. And he's like, but you okay that I don't believe in God? Yeah.
Yes. That part, Indy, because that is how, like, even I feel like as believers, as you mature in your faith, certain things you might not struggle with. But I was once lost, and so it's like, who am I to tell you that because you don't believe like I believe, you do things that I don't do, that I can't talk to you. And I feel like the church has not done a good job with that. And I feel like that's why a lot of our generation is kind of like, I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? Like and I understand, like, you're supposed to be in community and body. I understand that. I know why we're in it. But it's like that, the perception that unbelievers have. It's like, I love you still. We can talk, like, I am not above you in any way. But
that ain't what they see. When they see the body of Christ, they don't see that. And so as a business owner, we are kingdom in the marketplace because they're not coming to your church. I don't care what you got going on at your church.
All the time.
They are not coming to your church.
Not interested.
Don't want to because it's not inviting. And then I get the whole, like, we are supposed to be set apart 100%. And we are. We look different. We love different. And that's what sets us apart. We embrace differently. But if we're still pushing this whole, like, you can't be a part agenda because you do this, you do that. When I came into that church in 2006, before it's 2005 going into 2006, when I came in there, I didn't come in there dressed to the nines. I came in there with what I had on the night before because I was still drunk and high. I smelled like weed. I looked like death. And I sat in that pew. And I sat, and then we dancing, and we hood, so y'all got the church rocking. We in there doing whatever the dances are in 2006. We in there kicking. You hear me? But it was my bishop. He's a bishop now, but it was my pastor who embraced it because he was from the streets. So it was easier for me to relate to a man who was from the streets who knew. You came in without no church. You came in not with the church code or, like, understanding, like, you can't chew gum in church. He didn't know that, and neither did I. Like, I kind of knew because my mom and them had us in there, but I wasn't paying attention. I'm a kid. Not paying attention to that. So it was the embrace that he gave me that taught me how to embrace others. So now it's like, I know you smell like pee. I know you look like you ain't never took a shower. Come here, let me give you a hug.
Yeah.
That don't matter to me because I understand how Jesus worked. I know how Jesus moved. He wasn't in our temples trying to pull. He was outside pulling. And it wasn't because he was going to go get them. They was following him. The anointing was following. So if God is going to draw all men unto him and he's in me, that means he going to draw them to you. Do your job and get to moving. You ain't got to stay there too long. You ain't got to do too much. Because I don't have to speak. God speaks. I'm just here. I'm the representation of him. Like, okay, God, we'll say what you're going to say.
There's been so many instances where I didn't understand, like, God, why am I here? What am I doing in this time? This don't even make sense. But then, so I'm going to just be brief about this. So, like, I do have a job now, like a full-time job. And before, I wasn't working. I didn't work this year, like earlier this year for a while. And I'm like, God, I don't want to. I just want to do what you want me to do because everything that I'm doing is not working. And that's how, and I'm going to share more about that, but, like, that's how me fully, like, putting both feet in, that's how I came to this. But God was like, okay, well, at the job that I have now, the other day, one of my coworkers was like, hey, I went to church this morning. I couldn't wait to come back and tell you. And it was a day, I was not having a good day that day. It was earlier this week. I was crying. I cried the whole day. But when I came in, I'm like, God, like, help me just be here, be present. And she told me that broke me down. She didn't even know, broke me down. But it just reminded me, like, you don't have to, like, you're a fisher of men. You don't need to know how. You don't need to know why. You plant seeds and let me do me. But when she's not a believer, you know? So when she said that, I was just like, that kind of stuff like that. It's like, okay, God, so I needed that moment because it's like sometimes we'll get caught up in like, okay, well, I have the vision, but it don't really look like it, you know? Because that's something that I struggle with a lot. But it's like, well, I'm here. If God would just have me here for the one, then that's all. My job is done. You know, that's all that matters. And so I love that, and I love that you're so open and inviting to everybody feels love because I love Mattie's. I go there sometimes. Y'all don't be there, but I do pull up when I come into the city. Like the food is amazing. First of all, y'all menu amazing, and I saw that y'all are even in the grocery store. Tell me about this journey, like all these different. Girl, tell me, because it's the nachos for me.
Hey, it's still the nachos for me. It's still the nachos for me. I go up to the restaurant like, hey, let me get the nachos. I don't even work.
And before it was the actual storefront, y'all had a food truck, or
we still got the food truck. Okay. We were working on 6-foot tables.
Okay.
And then we went from 6-foot tables to a food truck because we wrote it down and said, okay, God, give us a food truck. And he gave us a food truck that we didn't pay for. And then we was like, okay. But Arvelisha just reminded me a couple days ago, she was like, sister, when I think she was looking through her the journal, because we write down at the top of the year, we try to write down what we want to see, but then we say, God, now you do what you want to do, what we want to see. That's it. And so she was like, sister, you remember we were cooking in the kitchen and we was like, man, God, I thank you for our own kitchen. And I was like, yeah, we had the Innovation Center and that's not our kitchen. It's big. It was huge, but we was confined to one space. And so she was like, we need more space. I'm like, God, thank you for our kitchen. Thank you for our own restaurant so that we can do this. And we tell people to this day, we never wanted a restaurant, but then God reminds us, no, y'all did. Y'all asked me for this and I gave it to you. Had no idea, couldn't even remember that we had been saying that because we were in such a tiny space trying to work God's vision. And God, we start saying, God, thank you for our bigger space. And he gives it to us and we like, girl, we didn't ask for this. Yes, we did. And he gave us exactly what we asked for. Now it was, however many years later from 2017 into 2020. So it's 3 years later that he gives it to us, but it was still all in his time. Every year growth every year, but you can't see it because some of the growth hurt and it don't look good. And it is like, we broke. This is growth. This is growth. And you want me to still, have faith in this place? And this is growth. Okay. And then he reminds me, don't I have to take everything away? And I literally was just telling my sister this yesterday. We on the phone and because we try to iron sharpen iron. So we try to stay in that space of just, okay, sister, we can't leave this place. We cannot leave this place with God. So I tell her, I said, sister, what I see is like when my stepdad comes and cuts my rose bush all the way down to nothing. And I'm like, ugh. Oh my God, you didn't cut all my flowers off. This is the ugliest plant ever. And it comes back a year later. Beautiful. You don't understand the cutaway and the ugly time and the ugly season that you got to go through until it comes back looking better than before. Baby, okay, broke. I know it's coming back better than before. Don't have much of nothing, and we over here still saying, God, I thank you. I still trust you, and I still believe. It don't look good, though. But I still trust you. Woo! And I believe. This isn't easy. It hasn't been easy by no means. Ups and downs in the relationship with God, just like, God, I'm doing what I want to do because this ain't working. I'm not going to leave you, though. I had a whole season when I told God, God, I'm going to do this. Just don't let me die in it. I told God that every day, God, I know I shouldn't be doing this. Just don't let me die in it. I'm coming out, though. I ain't out yet. I ain't ready to let it go. But I'm coming out. Just give me some time. Just don't let me die right here. This was in 2021. Just don't let me die right here, God. And so, I wasn't trying to do all of that. So I'm like, okay. And he pulled me out. He pulled me out of it. And it still was ugly. And then my daddy dies. Really? This what you're doing? God, I trust you, and I still believe. Yep. In my face, my daddy died. Right here in my face. God, I trust you, and I still believe because I look at the TV, and my daddy, who was a heroin addict, dies listening to T.D. Jakes on his TV because 3 weeks, maybe a month before, he calls me, and I lead my daddy to Christ. And hands, come on, baby girl, I need you to talk to God for me because you my pastor, you my minister. You the one who gonna get me into, come on, baby girl, I need your help, please. And a month, maybe 2 months later, he dies in my face. God, I trust you, and I still believe, and this has been one of the most traumatic years, but God has been so good this whole year. This was this year. I'm coming up on a year from my daddy's death on the 27th of January, 20 days after my birthday, and I was mad at him when he died. Listen, this is what happens in that walk where you just like, this what you got me to? But you die with me being your pastor, God, daddy. I'm your minister. This is what you tell people. Me and my sister, they're my ministers. Them is my pastors. And God, you allowed me to lead you in. God, Daddy, come on, we going to Jesus. And you die. It was the greatest gift God could ever give me. Because it didn't happen to me. It happened for me. Catapulted me into this space. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it together. Okay?
Listen, you, baby.
You are such a blessing.
You trying to keep it together. I've been over here.
That you know what? I knew that you had something when you used to do my hair. Because the way you used to minister to me, I needed it. When I was afraid of what was going to happen on the other side, when I jumped, I needed it. Nobody was speaking into me in that way. So who are we to deny what God can do? Who are we to deny how he can use us? Who are we to deny the seeds that we have to plant into somebody else that they can go about and plant it to somebody else? Because you planted a seed in me, Indy.
Oh.
You planted a seed in me. You planted the seed in me. You spoke life into me when I didn't believe. When I was still trying to know what Jesus was. What is this relationship, right? And then even to think about the journey of how God has moved through your life in spite of your hardships, in spite of the things that you are dealing with behind the scenes. We know you. We know Mattie's food. You know, the food that we love, but it's so much bigger. It's so much bigger than Mattie's.
It always has been.
It's a ministry, and you're blessed because you're not going to hold back what God wants to do through you. So the people that He's allowed you to encounter, whatever it is that He's allowed, you don't even know what walks of life certain your customers are, like the atmosphere. Last time I was there, I was reading the notes in the jar that y'all have, and I was just like, it's so intentional down to the small details. Like, you just don't know, you don't know what that does for people. So I'm excited to see what God is doing in spite of, because sometimes we can allow our flesh, the things that we go through, to hinder us to not want to go. I've had so many seasons like that. Even now, I'm like, God, are you sure? I still question this. Like, am I doing the right thing? You know what I'm saying? But to be able to have this conversation is going to bless somebody else who feel like they too far from God, who feel like they too high to come to God. They can't get rid. They can't let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, our testimonies, what God has given us is just a cherry on top. That's just for the world to see, but it's what He's doing through. It's what He's doing through us and the lives that we are able to touch through our obedience. So I just want to encourage you and your sister to keep going. The food is amazing. It's amazing. I'm so proud of y'all. I'm so proud. Y'all have y'all products in Hy-Vee or in the grocery stores. Like, Hy-Vee. Think about from where you started.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Woo. Calm it down. From where you started to where you are right now. Can't nobody tell me that God is not real.
Because He did that.
Can't nobody tell me.
That's how we got in the store. God said, go to the Hy-Vee on in Raytown and tell them. And that lady didn't taste nothing. She didn't want nothing. She said, yeah, just bring the product back. I'll take 2 cases.
Who are we to deny what the Lord can do? Indeed. I'm excited. I got chills. I am excited because it's not easy, and people see the glam, but they don't know the praying, the fasting, the heartbreak, the trying. Like, they don't know what you go through, all the tribulation. They don't know what it's like behind the scenes. That's why I always tell people, don't covet what you see somebody have,
because you don't know what they went through.
You don't know what. Even you don't know what it takes to get on camera, to share. You don't know what this is like over here. So don't be jealous and don't be envious of what you see somebody else doing, or businesses that you see thriving, because you don't know what God is doing behind the scenes.
Baby, look.
And it's not like when you fully surrender, it's like, God, can I do this for real? I'm tired. My daddy just passed away. I don't want to keep going.
Baby, look, a whole season of you sure?
Blow after blow after blow. And now it's like, God, like you said, like that isolation period when you got to kind of depend on that manna. Because I've had seasons like that. I'm kind of in a season like that where it's like, okay, God, you're providing for me in this way. But what I need is so far beyond what I can do. I have to trust you.
Yep.
I have to this equipment, all this stuff that I got, Indy, if you wouldn't have told me about this, I was like, I don't know how it's going to work, God, but I know, I trust what you put inside of me. And God always provides.
Always.
He always provides.
Always.
He always provides. And He's going to continue to do that. He's going to blow your mind. He's going to blow your mind.
I receive it.
He is.
I receive it. I receive it. Your obedience. You just being intentional and going to God saying, God, who? And for whatever reason, He thought I should be a part of it. But you come to Kansas City. We tried to do this before, and it wasn't just, but that ain't how He wanted it to go. And it's your obedience to do it anyway, to ask anyway. I don't know what they schedule gonna look like. And when my sister said she couldn't come, I said, I'm going anyway.
I appreciate you.
Going anyway.
And I always, you think about the people on your journey. That's why I'm like, you be mindful how you treat people when they can do nothing for you. You be kind to people. Embrace people when you can. Support them when you can, because you never know what that journey is going to look like. And there is no way that I'm going to continue to ascend and not look back at the people who have been along me, who have been supporting, who have been around along the way, who spoke life into me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I live in Dallas, but Kansas City is my home.
Yeah.
I love my city. I love what people people are doing here. You know, I love that. And I love that you have imprinted in the culture of Kansas City. Like, I don't know, when you think of vegan food, it's always Mattie's. It's always Mattie's. It's all
that's
people,
crazy.
Literally. And when I think of vegan food, and I'm like, where do y'all eat in Kansas City? Asking people. Sometimes I'll just be curious just to know, because I'm not a real vegan because I eat fish now. But like, it's always Mattie's. Have you heard of Mattie's? Mattie's.
That is crazy.
Mattie's.
God, you get all the glory, because baby, without him, that would not be at all. I'm grateful. Girl, I'm so glad I came here and did this interview. I'm so glad you came here
too.
Girl.
I'm gonna cry in the car.
Hey, I'm definitely crying in the car. Like,
before you go, I asked all my guests this question. I didn't put it on in the email.
It's fine.
But if you listen to Let It Be, I have a playlist, Let It Be the playlist, and it's just kind of like my happy bank. I go back and I listen to this when I need to be encouraged, when I need to be reminded of who I am, whose I am. Can you tell me 3 songs that I can add to Let It Be the playlist that you listen to, that you go to for encouragement, that's just kind of something that just lifts your mood?
All right, so one song that just came, like, I got 2 songs. I ain't got 3. I just got 2. Firm Foundation by Maverick City, and Decrease by Ty Galbert. Lord, I decrease so you can. Those 2 songs. Firm Foundation is my season song. Decrease is my life song. Because I can't show up. I have to decrease so he can increase, so he can be seen and not India. So when I'm going to the gym or wherever I need to be, decrease. So if they need God, they get God, not India. Because I am a whole entire M word. I can be a piece of work. But with God,
me too. me too.
But that firm foundation is my constant reminder of what I'm standing on. That's it. It's like both of them are life songs, but that decreases. It really, really, really pulls me right back into it. Come on. That's it. I don't know no other ones. There's probably a whole bunch of other ones, but I can't think of nothing else.
It's okay.
Those are the 2 that just constantly. This is it. This is it.
Indeed. I'm so excited. I just can feel it. I can feel it on you. God has so much more for you, and he's going to continue to blow your mind. Just keep walking in obedience. Keep doing what he said. Keep trusting no matter what you face, because you can go through, you can do hard things. You can do hard things because of who lives in you. The things that you might come against, it's like, God, there's no way I can still get out and do it. You can. You can.
Girl, stop talking to me.
No. You can.
Stop talking to me. Oh my God.
It's on you. It's in you. Think about where you started.
I know.
Think about where you started.
I know.
Jesus.
I know. And you was a part of that journey. And I'm just like, man, God, you know how to go back and pull them. It's like a full circle moment. Like, nah. Remember when you were pouring in? This is what came of that. And so when I see the fruit of the labor from years ago come back, I'm like, that's what came from that? So when I say I'm excited and I'm so proud of you, it's because I, even if you don't, remember the days that you sat in my chair and cried and God starts speaking and you not being sure and you not knowing what's next, any of that stuff. I see now the manifestation of his glory from that day to today. And so when I say I'm proud of you, it's not because of what you're doing today. It's because I seen you here and I see you. Oh, God, I see you now. And it's not you from here that I see now. It's him in you that I see now. The him that was in you then is in you fully now. Baby, look, I'm done. I am done.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, I love you so much.
Oh my God, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Okay, y'all. So, Jesus. If you like what you heard, first of all, before I get to that, how can we find you? How can we support you? What y'all got going on?
We need money.
Okay.
I know, that's crazy because most people need money. We do. I don't care. You can support in any way possible. Just
Where can they find you?
MattiesFoods.com. We have a donation thing on there. Go donate. It's the kingdom, and so it's a kingdom business. I know it's kind of cliche to ask for money, but I don't care because God told me I can.
Yeah.
If you ask me what I need, that's what we need. We need finances so that we can be bigger givers. It's not so that we can grow our pockets more. We want to be able to employ more people, but we need money coming into the door so that we can employ the people who need it, because now I can lead this employee to Christ. You ain't got to come in being a believer at Mattie's. You can come in, you're going to leave being a believer at Mattie's. And if you leave not being a believer, it's because you had an agenda to destroy God's kingdom, and God pulled you out of that. So, MattiesFoods.com. I know I just be going on tangents. I'm sorry, y'all. MattiesFoods.com. MattiesFoods.com.
Any social media?
Mattie's Foods on everything, literally everything. You can go to Instagram is Mattie's Foods KC_vegan. On Facebook is Mattie's Foods. What else? We ain't got no Twitter. We got a TikTok though.
Okay. Yeah, we learned TikTok. Same here.
We learning. This is Mattie's Foods on there too. And there's that you don't have to don't even look me up, please.
No, it's okay.
I'm good.
Mattie's Foods. I'll make sure I plug you on the socials. But thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast. I know that this blessed somebody because it's blessing me. It's always, God is just good. God is good.
God.
He is good. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to Let It Be the Podcast on Facebook as well as Instagram. You can subscribe to Let It Be on all streaming platforms, and subscribe to the YouTube channel because I'm trying to grow the YouTube channel as well so that we can expand God's kingdom. So don't just be watching, subscribe so that way YouTube can pay me, okay?
Come on, this is kingdom. Get kingdom paid.
Listen, we doing this all by ourselves. So, but God's a provider. So I'm just thankful if you've been on the journey. Thank you for supporting. And until next time, we will talk to you later. Bye.